The book I chose was The Last of the Mohicans by Jane Fenimore Cooper. This book is historic fiction. It was written in the early 1800s, which means this novel has a much grander vocabulary than most people are used to. Now, during this time period, many people believed that the Indian race was dying out, hence the title The Last of the Mohicans. And also during this time period was the French and Indian War. As the French and English are fighting to gain control of North America, two daughters with the last name of Monroe are rescued by the Last of the Mohicans and their adopted white man Hawkeye. The two daughters are taken on a dangerous trip to visit their father while outrunning the hostile Indians who are fighting alongside the French. Love and death brings two unlikely settlers together. This book is considered to represent an accurate representation of the difficulties the settlers faced during the war. The French and Indian War is historically known as the 7-Year War. This war sparked resentment towards the British Crown and the colonists' resentment towards Great Britain. The significance of the French and Indian War is that it was the beginning of the future conflicts and riots between Britain and the American colonists. It left Britain in a major debt, which caused the placement of taxes on the colonies. The main outcome of the French and Indian War was the Treaty of Paris, which is the peace treaty between Britain and France, which caused issues for the Indians since they were not allowed to take part in this. The story does include factual information about Fort William Henry, as you can see in the bottom picture below. Fort William Henry was a British fort that was sieged by the French. The novel portrays this event in history. Monroe appeared among his silent troops, firm but dejected. This quote was when Monroe was surrounded and had to surrender to the French in the novel. The Last of the Mohicans was often criticized by many people who say that the novel was too wordy and had many unnecessary words and phrases. There was honestly no need for half of the words Cooper used in this novel, such as laid waste by the inroads of the relentless allies. This page wasn't even talking about allies. It was talking about the issues of the English. So this just proves that there are unnecessary words and phrases in this novel. There's only one word to sum up this novel, and that is boring. It was completely and utterly boring. It would make a reader want to cringe just looking at this novel, and sadly no one would predict that, but it's true. That might seem a bit harsh, but just from the first page, people won't understand. They learn to overcome every difficulty in time, nor any secret place so lovely, or to uphold the cold, selfish policy of the distant monarchs of Europe. That was all one sentence, just some snippets of it from the first page. It seemed like Cooper rambles on and on and on about one certain thing, to the point that it doesn't make any sense. The first half of the book is basically just talking about the landscape, and he goes so into detail about it that you don't even remember what he's talking about. Readers would expect a fascinating tale that would be action-packed, but with a lot of history into it. Truly, there was a lot of action. There was some historical event, but there needed to be so much more. The author did mention many occurrences with interracial relationships and showed many different frontier lifestyles with that in the novel. Cooper definitely changed some people's thoughts and opinions in life. Cooper also changed many views during the 1800s with his most well-known book, The Last of the Mohicans.